Welcome to this conversation on money, one that might just change the way you think about it forever. I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself, money is for what? Money can be used for what? Money feels like what? Whatever answer popped into your head, that's a glimpse into your money pattern, the deeply ingrained beliefs that have been shaping your financial life without you even realizing it. For most of us, these patterns weren't chosen intentionally. They were inherited. They were passed down like family heirlooms by our parents, by our grandparents, by our friends, and by society. If you grew up in a house where money was a constant struggle, you most likely heard things like I did, like, we can't afford that. Or we have one of those somewhere in the garage if you go look for it. Money doesn't grow on trees, Jason. Rich people are greedy. Debt is dangerous. Is this familiar? And whether we realize it or not, these statements get wired into our brain, shaping our actions, our fears, and the way we interact with money today. Here's the hard truth. Money itself isn't the problem. It's the way that we think about money that keeps us stuck. If you ever felt like you're spinning your wheels financially, like no matter how hard you work, there's never enough. Or like you're starting to get ahead, but what if? Or like wealth is something that happens for other people, but not for you, then this is for you because you don't need a lottery ticket, a raise, or a lucky break to change your financial future. You don't have to pick up that penny on head, even though I'm going to. You need to recognize the pattern, pause long enough to rewire it, and install a new system that actually works. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Most people don't even realize that they have a relationship with money. They don't even understand that money is something that is completely ingrained with every part of our life. But the reality is, we all do. We all have a relationship with money. And just like any relationship in life, it's either serving you or it's holding you back. Pop in the chat, which is it doing for you? Is it serving you or holding you back? How would you rate your relationship with money? Is it like the worst ex you've ever had, like the nightmare one? The one, not the one that got away, but the one that you don't even want to ever remember that you had gone out with them? Or is it the love of your life? That alone, that rating, that spectrum that I just gave you, if money is a one, if money is a less than one, then you're going to struggle financially no matter how much money you make. If money is more like a 10, 11, 12, and you feel comfortable talking about it, you feel comfortable being around it, then money will serve you. Money will be that tool. Today, I'm going to challenge you to take a hard look at your money patterns, your money beliefs, because the moment that you become conscious of them is the moment that everything will start to shift. And it's not going to happen overnight. Remember, anything we talk about with your money beliefs, with infinite banking, it is not a get rich quick scheme. It's like sitting down to meditate for the first time, being like, man, that didn't work. Is that familiar to anybody? That used to happen to me. I'd go find a quiet place, sit in the closet, read a book on meditation, and start doing what I read about. And then I'll be like, that's interesting. That thought's going here. This thought's going here. I can't focus on anything. Everything's happening. You get done and you feel more stressed because you didn't do a good job meditating. Familiar? Money's no different. If you believe money is scarce, start shifting to money is abundant and flows easily to me. It breaks over me like waves in the ocean. If you believe debt is dangerous, start shifting to debt is a tool that I control to reach my goals. If you believe money is hard to earn, start shifting to money is a reflection of how much value that I'm adding to other people, no matter what you do. No matter if you are someone who works for somebody else, someone that is a business owner, someone that is just doing their best at whatever job. We all know those type of people. We all know or have seen someone that's a janitor who takes massive pride in their job. They go above and beyond. They enjoy their work. They are abundant in their life, in their energy. The way that our energy is also a reflection of where our money is. And if they're not aligned, then that's going to be a real struggle. A lot of artist types, a lot, not everybody, but a lot of artist types, a lot of creators, they struggle with money because they believe that money is over there. I talked to a wonderful woman who was a children's book writer who's very tied into her spirituality, very tied into the quantum. But money for her is scary. Money isn't even allowed in her house pretty much. She doesn't work or even know how much she makes. Why? Because money to her is like that bad ex, that bad thing you don't want to talk about. Because here's the truth when you have that conversation, our words make our world, and our beliefs are going to make our words. That's Gandhi's famous quote, right? It starts with our beliefs. It starts with what's in between your ears. And if you're here, you're already ahead of most people. You're already looking for different solutions. And you might have heard this before, but here's the reality. You're back because the pattern has to continue to be practiced. It has to be noticed. The only way we ever become conscious of anything is because we start to recognize our patterns. Because the truth is, if your patterns aren't serving you, one, they're serving someone else and someone else's agenda. But two, more importantly, you have the power to change them. Say it with me. Yes, I can. Right? Yes, I can. Yes, I can change my beliefs. Yes, I can change my patterns. Yes, where I'm at today is not an indication of where I will be for the rest of my life. This is not a life sentence. Feeling this way is not something that has to be constant. When we look at overcoming the fear of losing money, when we exist in a constant state of lack, how could we ever feel free financially? From the beginning, from when I started teaching infinite banking, I always talked about how we all want more money, more time, and more magic in our lives. They are three amazing things. At the end of the day, there is something underlying those words. It is a feeling. It is a feeling of freedom. I talk about William Wallace and painting our faces blue and yelling, freedom, and getting into it. But that feeling of freedom is what everyone, whether you are someone that earns millions of dollars and still feels stuck, it is that belief, that rule, that cycle. It is the fear of losing money. And when we go into the fear of losing money, it is an energetic state of being. If you guys are resonating with this, just pop an I in the chat for me. It is an energetic state of being. It is like prevent defense in football. What does prevent defense do? Any football fans here? Pop in the chat below, pop in the chat here. Prevent defense prevents you from winning. And why? Scientifically, there's a reason for that. Because when we start going into fear, into stress, into worry, those are low vibrations. Shame. When we make a bad play, we start feeling bad. We're letting our teammates down. How can we blow this big of a lead? This is crazy. You guys remember what the Houston Oilers did against I think it was the Bills way back, right? They were up by 30 some points and they blew it. But it was predictable. You and I watching the game, we know. You can watch the tide turn. You can watch the energy shift. Why? Because you are not going to reach your goals, your dreams, if you stop believing. When you operate from force, you're operating in a really low vibration. You're pushing everything away. You're putting up a wall. If you have those rules around money, how do we shift those patterns? This is actual science. This is fascinating to me. I like this more than infinite banking. Now that's crazy. But if you're struggling, if you're here and you're struggling paycheck to paycheck, that's all too common. I've had thousands and thousands of conversations at this point, and so many people are struggling. They're making this much and they're spending this much somehow. And with inflation going up, with taxes, with all the things, they just feel stuck. They feel worried. But what they don't know what they don't know, what they don't realize, what the folks I am talking to may not yet, right? We always have permission because it's not a judgment, it's not a sentence. It is a moment. It is a moment when we have a feeling about where we're at today. And guess what? We all have bad days. No one is abundant all the time. No one is always in the game. No one is always vibrating at this high, high, high frequency. The state of power and love and grace and empathy and acceptance and patience. That's what we strive for. That's the fun of being human. Some days we're up, some days we're down, but guess what? The sun goes up, the sun comes down. We breathe in, we breathe out, we move on, as Jimmy Buffett liked to say. So, any of you struggling paycheck to paycheck, let's look at our patterns. I'm going long on this because this, again, back to the beginning, the introduction, this is the thing that is going to shift everything. This one choice, this one decision, this one action, this one change and replacement of an operating system, a belief that's not helping you, is the difference between being financially free and feeling it, even if you are or you aren't. Someone else might see your situation and say, that person's not free, but to you, if you feel free, does it really matter? Think about that for a second. That's comparing yourself. That is the thief of all joy. So, again, the first P today, the first of the actual three Ps is your pattern. Recognize your pattern. Recognize your pattern long enough to rewire it and install a better operating system. One that actually works. A system that's simple. A system that you don't have to be a math whiz. A system that you don't have to be some kind of rocket scientist or engineer or someone that's brilliant around money. It's as simple as a concept. It's as simple as knowing and having faith and belief. One of the thoughts I had while I was putting this together today is, is getting to the point in the conversations with folks where I almost know with probably a 90% certainty, and that's not bragging, that's recognizing a pattern, whether someone's going to be successful or not based on what they say about themselves, their situation, and what they want, and what questions they ask. As soon as we talked about this in AMA yesterday, as soon as someone starts diving in to, well, show me this number and prove this, and what is this going to be for this percentage and this percentage, already they're not talking about the process. Already they have disconnected from the point, from the system, from the thing. Yes, it is math. Yes, the spread makes a difference. Yes, all those things are factual, but none of it happens without faith, without belief that this can work for you. So we want to install a better system. And to do that, awareness is the first step. Awareness is the first step. It is the next action. It is pausing. And this is where infinite banking changes the game, y'all. This is where instead of following the old traditional playbook, the book that you had taken on unaware and adopted it as your actual playbook, and this is why you're here, where you're going to spend and there when whatever's left over, you're going to go ahead and try to invest it and make a spread. Instead of doing that, instead of doing the traditional method where you're giving up the opportunity to earn interest. You're paying interest to other families, to Bank of America, to Ford, to Hyundai, to whoever you're paying the things that you needed and wanted in your life, but you financed them. Pause. When you start seeing the pattern, pause and ask, what would be a more empowering belief? If I believe that I'm never going to be rich, if I believe that I'll never be financially free, if I believe I'm destined to work until the day I die and money will never work for me, what are the chances that's going to happen? Your reticular activating system, your RAS, will find what you are looking for. I'm going to give you a great example later on. We're going to talk about someone who doesn't want to be talked about. We're going to brag about someone who I admire in her energy, in her beliefs, in the systems that she's installed. And they pertain to money. They pertain to what we're talking about today. And so this system, when we talk about infinite banking being the foundation, being the base, It's a system that is going to grow guaranteed. It's a system that's going to guarantee a legacy. Who says you can't buy a legacy? That is not true. If I graduated today, if I passed away today, my family would receive $4 million. That is a bigger legacy, more of a legacy than I have received ever from anyone in my family. So it's already changing generations. And with the knowledge that all the information I'm putting out there, all the stuff we talk around in the house, all of the conversations we're having around money, I know that they are destined to keep picking up my pattern, taking that example and moving forward. Now I'm not going anywhere. Today's not my day. Saturday, I'm riding a 105-mile gravel ride. So maybe that's just kidding. That's not going to be the day either. But if you're new here, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. As Connor Patrick likes to say, it might just turn orange and alert you to all of the new content. Spread the IBC message. Everyone, and I mean everyone, if you're here without a friend, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's my DJ stuff going on. If you're here without a friend, bring a friend, invite somebody. It's a big bus, the infinite banking bus. Invite them onto the bus. Tell them what you're learning here. Tell them how it all starts with their belief, their pattern around money, and then just pausing. That's pretty simple. Pattern, pause. What's next, Jason? That's a good question. What is next? Breaking the silence around money, finding our fears, looking at our fears and realize, are they even our fears? Is that actually something Jason Sipple, is afraid of? Or did someone teach me to be afraid of it? That's what happened to me at 50 years old when I realized, wait a minute, my mother, and I love her very dearly, she's a wonderful woman, but she taught me to be afraid of heights to the point where like my knees get all weak and wobbly. My stomach gets all queasy. What are you guys afraid of? I know we're talking about money. I know we're talking about patterns, but what are you afraid of? And is that your fear? For an example, I know Patty does not like spiders, but she's starting to program herself by holding spiders, picking spiders up, doing things like that. I think it still freaks her out, but she knows that that is a silly thing to be afraid of, even if they are hairy and weird and have all kinds of legs and eyes and things, you know? But I was afraid of heights. So what I do last year, I jumped off a perfectly good cliff, mountain, with a guy who didn't speak my language strapped to my back, telling me to do something while I'm dangling 10,000 feet above keto. And then later that year, I went and jumped off a bridge, a perfectly good bridge. It was like 330 feet and down towards a river. And I was like, oh my God, I had every fear in the world. But I did it. I got through it. And I did it because I was afraid. So that's just to share that. So we got some heights, we got some rodents, we got some snakes. But think, is that your fear or is that someone else's fear? Why this is personal? You know, why we have to break the silence on being afraid about money, on making money a taboo subject. Because after 46 years of worry, stress, lost chances because of patterns that weren't even mine, my relationship with money. And by the way, this is a spiritual journey. This is a journey between darkness and light. This is a journey that we're all on together. We're all one on this journey. And so at the end of the day, this is not just about money. It's about actual freedom, your personal freedom, freedom from financial stress, freedom from being at the mercy of a broken financial system, a broken banking system, freedom to create opportunities for those that you love, and maybe even more importantly, for yourself. Because when you believe in yourself, when you know you can do it, then guess what? Everything becomes possible. And if you don't change the pattern, who's going to change the pattern for you? What's going to happen to your kids and your grandkids when you grow up? Like imagine a world. Now, again, everyone that's watching this, you're already in the minority. You're already investing in your most valuable asset, yourself, between your ears, your best real estate. You're here because you do want to shift the pattern. You do want to have the conversation. And I never know who this is going to reach, who's going to make a difference today. But sometimes the words, the patterns, the quotes, the things that we read are the thing that takes us to the next level. Because like anything, not everything is taught. Sometimes it's just caught. Sometimes it's a moment. Sometimes it's a person. Maybe I know Patty's heard this stuff listening to me for almost 4 years now. I go on and on and on talking about the same thing, giving the same stories, the same examples, looking to break the same patterns. And she might hear someone else say, she go, I get it now. I get what a paid up edition is now. I get what this is. So I'm saying this, I'm sharing that because I want you to be patient and kind and empathetic with your journey. You're brave and have courage, which is a higher vibration by just being here. So let's go on. Let's move on and talk about how do we have awareness? What is consciousness? You don't change that pattern until you become conscious of it. And if you're conscious of it one day and you slip back into your old habits the next day, that's pretty normal. That's going to happen. I guarantee it. So take a moment to reflect on these questions and understand your current financial mindset. What do you feel about money? How's money feel? What's your relationship with money? When you think about making tons of money, is there resistance there? When you think about giving away tons of money, is there resistance there? When you think about buying something really expensive for yourself that you just want because you want it, is there resistance there? If there is, what is it? That is something to be celebrated. That awareness, that moment, that pause, that intention right there is the thing to be celebrated. It is the space that you're creating between your thought and the next action. This is how when someone comes at us with energy that wants to be combative, where you just want to be, you just want to go back hard. You want to match your energy, match and mirror them, but you stop and you say, man, I wonder what's going on with this person. Why are they so upset? That will make them really mad. You want to throw someone off and break in a pattern? Try that. Try that. That is something that'll freak people out. If you're someone who always reacts to a certain thing and then you notice the pattern, go the opposite way. Be like George Costanza. Do opposite day. Do the opposite reaction. Find that alternative for yourself that's empowering and have fun with it. It is a journey. There is no perfection. Again, perfection's stupid. So action is going to be the next step. First, it is pattern awareness. Then it is pausing. Next is going to be the action. Because why? You don't know anything if you don't act on it. You really don't know anything if you've just been studying it for a lifetime. I don't know if any of you are fans of the show Highlander, but that was like my favorite college show because there can only be one. There's only one Duncan MacLeod, if any of you are my age and know what I'm talking about. But one immortal. And immortals go around living all these lifetimes, having all these lives and exciting things they create. But at the end, there's only one. And why I was talking about, I don't even remember. But anyhow, your habits, your patterns, they compound over time. And your awareness, the more you become aware of them, the more conscious you are. The more things don't bother you. The more you understand that tomorrow you're going to be fine. You're going to go to bed, the sun's going to go down, the sun's going to come up, and you're going to be fine. And this is what it should be and can be for everyone around money. So what's the one small step? Make a note to yourself. What's the one small thing that can empower a new money pattern for you? Share some ideas in the chat. Share with others. You might have someone that's, been there, been a little bit stuck. Like Shane, my man Shane, the first time I talked to him, he had spreadsheets and numbers and he was nervous and he didn't know if it could actually work. And now he's one of the biggest advocates of what we teach with infinite banking because he has taken the action. He is an example. There's other folks here that are examples as well, but maybe you're new. Maybe you've just heard about infinite banking. Maybe you're like, what is Jason talking about today with patterns and pausing and action? Action is progress. When we have progress, guess what? We're happy. If you go do something and you're really bad at it, but you get a little better, just a little bit better, it's progress. That means you're probably going to go back and do the thing again. You're not going to be excellent at anything doing it one time. You're not going to be excellent at anything that you set out to master by reading about it, thinking about it, having conversations about it. You have to take action. You have to get on the mat. You have to do the work. So again, for you, everyone here, make notes. Don't just take them, make them. Go execute something today. What is the one thing from what I've shared today that you are going to change and notice and become conscious of? What is one thing you're going to do a little bit better with in your financial language, beliefs, the things that you talk about on a daily basis? This is personal, but again, you are not alone. You're not in the minority. This is the majority of America feels this way. Could you imagine if you get thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people onto the infinite banking bus? Do you think things would be fundamentally different? It'd be a non-inflationary period. Our transactions, our lending, our loans would be non-inflationary. I know I'm going off into a far, far fairy tale land, but hey, you got to be crazy if you want to change the world. You got to believe, like Nelson Nash did, that this is a far better system because it's been around longer than the IRS, than the Federal Reserve, than all of the different qualified plans and solutions and things for college and everything else, which, if you look at it from the other side, are the institution's biggest moneymakers. No, I didn't want to go down this path, didn't want to depart from talking about what is the 75%, the most important thing, which is our mindset, our beliefs, our words that make our world. So over time, breaking the cycle of financial struggle is going to happen through repetition, through awareness, and over time, for you, it might be years, it might be decades. I'm working with someone having a conversation tomorrow, 5 specially engineered whole life policies into his journey, 11 years, and the light bulb just went on a month ago. Finally understood why he wanted to put as much as he was allowed to in his premium deposits versus trying to have as little as possible going in there and building it up over time. It finally occurred like, oh, this is just a storage space. This is just where I'm going to store my money away from Uncle Sam, where it's growing tax free, where I have access to the money, where it's protected against liens and judgment, where it gives my family what I want for them, which is a tax free legacy. And then when you make these shifts, I'm going to throw something at you that you're not going to like. And I'm sorry, but it's the truth. When you start making more and you start having a better relationship with money, guess what? Your ego is not going to like it. At some point, something, I had this today driving home, talking about a bottle of wine that Patty was going to have with her sister tonight when she comes in from Ecuador. And I was like, oh, did you get that one again? Because my scarcity mindset around my beautiful wife having something she enjoyed, I was like, that's a pretty good bottle of wine. And it popped up, even though there's no reason for that to pop up. There's no reason for me to feel scarcity or worry about that. Again, she's going to enjoy the time. She's going to have an amazing experience, shared experience with her sister. That is priceless. That's what money's for. Money's fun to make. Money's fun to spend. Money's fun to give away. That's what Sarah Blakely of Spanx likes to say. And so when you take ownership of your financial future, first is belief. You have to be. You have to be the thing that you want to be, the person, the journey. The journey is about who you get to become. And if you're intentional with your thoughts, if you're intentional with that vision, intentional where you're going, if you have a destination and you're willing to have faith that you can do it in yourself, in your discipline, then you could do this. So set the intention. Every day, Patty, who many of you know, many of you think very highly of, she tells herself, she pauses in the morning and tells herself, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to have fun. And man, does she. As her witness, as someone that's around her as much or more than anyone else, maybe than my boys, she has fun every day. That doesn't mean that she doesn't work hard. That doesn't mean that she doesn't give massively to her family, to her community, to all of you, to our family, to our Taekwondo victory community. She is always given, looking out for others, being there for others, being a source of light. And so much of this, her ability to keep giving, is because she lets herself refill with good energy. She believes she's always going to be happy. She believes that things are always going to be fun. And guess what? her mind finds fun. Her mind finds happiness. Her mind finds joy. Even if I say something because I want to complain, Patty instantly reframes it. And some of me get sad because I'm like, man, I just wanted to complain for 1 second. I wanted to complain and be in the gap for a moment. It's okay to be in the gap. It's normal to be in the gap. But how long are you going to stay there? 30 seconds, a minute, a day, 10 minutes, a couple days, month? How long are you going to stay stuck in scarcity, stuck in lack, stuck in a place that drives you to feeling incomplete, fearful, worried, stressed, anxious, lashing out to the people you love? I've been there. Have you? So when you control your money, when you take control of your money, of your beliefs, you take control of your life. It starts with that belief. It starts with that system that you can put in place, and it only changes one thing. Remember, we're only doing what the wealthy have taught us, which is paying ourselves first, following the commandments: God, heart, mind, and soul, self, neighbor. Not 1, 3, 2. We are talking about loving ourselves a little bit more. That is powerful. That is abundance. That belief is going to pay off dividends financially, like the ones we talk about in infinite banking. And it's going to set your family up for financial success. So we started out today imagining yourself financially free, right? As abundant. You felt feelings of love, of peace, of ease, of leisure, of abundance. When you feel that, write it down. Take stock of how that feels in your body, in your mind, in your energy. And again, you don't need to be a multimillionaire. You don't need to be a billionaire. You don't even need to make a ton of money if you have the right beliefs and systems in place. With a belief that supports your goals and a system, aren't you 10 times more likely to succeed? Pop in the chat if that sounds accurate. Again, having a destination and belief you will reach the destination is arguably 75% of the battle. I don't have any science to back this thought, but after talking to and teaching thousands of people on this system, I'm starting to see the difference between those that prioritize their banking and those that just don't get it yet. You need a system, a process, something that has been around for longer than the Federal Reserve, a lot longer, and all of the shenanigans created by the financial system. Something that's definitely not sexy. Permanent whole life is not sexy, but something that guarantees your financial goals are going to come true. Today, we talked about patterns. Are you supporting, are your patterns supporting you, or are they hijacking your whole system? Remember, just seeing your patterns could be the difference between feeling free or continuing to feel stuck in a crazy game that doesn't seem like you can win. Yes, contrary to popular belief, working harder, working longer, staying up later, getting up earlier is not actually going to change things. It is the pause after you recognize the pattern. It is the pause to stop and recognize and become conscious of your language, of your beliefs, of what you think about money. Then celebrate it. Then high five, pat in the back, self hug, recognize it, write it down, share that with somebody, share it with somebody here. And then it's taking action. And the only way to take action is to test yourself. Like our chief master says, if you're in Taekwondo, or you're in our mixed martial arts stuff that we're doing now, you can either go test yourself by going and picking a fight, or maybe you sign up for a tournament or you spar somebody in class. That is how you test yourself here, is by getting on the mat, by taking action, by starting your infinite banking process when you're ready, when you have the patterns and beliefs that support that. And you will build with progress. You will build happiness by seeing the steps that you are taking and then measuring backwards against where you were before. So ultimately, you testing yourself, you testing your knowledge will tell you if you will and taking action are going to be the difference between your success you desire or not. The progress is what we're celebrating. As Tony Robbins talks about, state, story, strategy. Change your state, that means your physical being. Start with changing your mood, your energy, listening to music, doing exercise, taking a cold shower, or just smiling, saying fantastic. It hijacks your whole brain. Change your story, change the narrative to support and tell yourself what you can achieve versus what you can't. Change your strategy, use strategies that are proven that you can model from others. So you're gonna recognize your pattern, you're gonna pause, you progress. If you are new here, subscribe, smash the like button, ring the bell to be alerted for more content, helping you learn how you can take back control of your money and become your own banker. Invite others to be here next week with you. Share this with a friend, share this with a coworker, share this with a kid or grandkid. Share this with someone who you know has the want and the desire to change themselves financially. There's plenty of room on my infinite banking bus, our infinite banking bus, and I know that you will be the biggest blessing to that person that you invite. So bring everybody. So let's recognize a pattern. Let's pause. Let's go ahead and have progress and celebrate the progress with each other. So thank you all for being here. Really, really enjoy talking to you guys every week. It's a blessing for me. I learned so much from you. Keep your questions coming. Keep interacting. Let me know what else you want me to teach on. And I have some really good ideas coming, some really special things coming in the near future. So make sure you're here every week, same time, same bat channel. And there we have it, another webinar about how infinite banking is your foundation, how it is your pathway to financial abundance. And it really starts with our mindset. 75%, my belief, 75% starts between our ears. It starts with our patterns, recognizing our patterns, becoming aware, becoming conscious of them, and then pausing, stopping for a moment, and seeing how we can replace those with an empowering thought, and then taking action. Because the progress from our actions is what's going to lead to happiness. So again, always blessed to be here with you. But I'm going to see you right here in this next video where I'm going to dive deeper into the infinite banking strategy. I'm going to show you how by shifting just the one thing, everything will shift. And if you're not there yet, if you're not quite getting it, it's okay. I'll see you in this next video. It is possible as long as you believe in yourself. God bless you. I'll see you on the next one.